Hey there, guys, it's Metro, and this is the return to Karazhan, long-awaited dungeon on the 7.1 PTR. Very excited to be bringing this to you guys, as many people are. I am a huge fan of Karazhan. It was the first real 10-man raid in the game, and I think everybody remembers it for being very unique and almost out of touch with what the rest of the game was doing at the time, and that's why it was so good. So immediately what you're going to notice here is how ambient and it's really a restorative declaration of what they've done here. They've managed to make the place feel not only new but also recapture the nostalgia, and I am so thankful for this. It is unbelievably well made, start to finish. I just want to say this is part one. All right, we're gonna do at least two parts. We'll see exactly what happens here, but we did this for almost 2 hours, and we still did not kill the final boss. Didn't even get to the final boss, but either way, it's a very, very long dungeon. All right, it takes arguably just as long as it would have taken to do the 10-man back in the day with the equally prepared group. The difference is this is tested at 845, I believe. It's dropping 855 from the early bosses. And then the latter bosses we managed to do were dropping 860, but I don't know. Maybe it was Warforged, but regardless, it does seem that at least the early bosses that you'll complete gets 855. So this is going to be great for alts. In fact, I am really looking forward to doing this. I mean, it's really good. 860. If it does drop 860 at the end, then it's equivalent. You know, it's up there with Mythic plus Dungeons. It's just quite the time investment. You know, 2+ hours to do Karazhan. So it's kind of like a small raid. A 5-man raid is the best way you could actually look at it. But anyway, up here you'll see we're fighting the patrons. If you guys remember these guys from back in the day, people used to be able to farm them as well after BC was well and done, and they gave a lot of gold. So I think that little mechanic there, pennies from heaven, that they're throwing coins at us, I think that's kind of like a little nod to that, although I don't know, maybe that's just what they used to do as well. But they also have this really cool little thing. They drop pamphlets that usually are bad reviews. I think it says like a negative review or something like that. I think that's Blizzard being a little tongue-in-cheek at themselves. You know, how many people seem to play the game, yet they still have bad things to say about it. It makes no sense to me, but I guess I wonder if you can get a good review, so I brought up that'd be pretty funny. Also, I want to mention that at some point, Siler is going to make an appearance in this video, because I did not know what to expect here. So there's a few things that I need to show you the audio of, but yeah, he'll be in that too, because we were doing it together. So anyway, this is the first event, the first boss here that we're going to do. It is, of course, the opera event, all right? If you remember, there's all new bosses for the opera event, and this is not a video on the bosses and stuff, so I'm not going to talk much about that, but we will show the encounter, okay? It's a pretty interesting encounter. I could at least explain what's going on, but basically there's a bunch of ads, okay, on this one here. There's a bunch of ads, and every time you kill one, another one gets buffed, and you know, we of course did not know that when we were doing it, but yeah, you could read the screen, the text there a little bit too. So ideally, you know, I wish I had known that there was going to be so much going on here. I would have been able to record the actual audio as well, but yeah, that wasn't known to me until we had already started, and by then, of course, it was too late. So in the group, you'll see all 5 of these people are people I know as well, so this is not like a pug or anything like that. Tub is a good friend of ours. Siler's on his monk there, his Windwalker monk. And I'm actually looking at, yeah. So you take a look at the scaling. I was considering like putting other gear on. I love when you get scaled up on the PTR. It's always fun, because you know you could like equip Thunder Fury or something like that, and it'll get scaled up. But anyway, and then we have Salandria. He's a raider in our guild, and then we have another guy in the group here. I'll let that guy remain a mystery to you. If you pay attention, you may know who he is. But anyway, yeah, so we got a bunch of these ads here, basically. They each do one mechanic, and then like one's immune. It's like the kettle is immune right there, the guy I'm targeting. He's kind of like the main boss. So we originally did not realize that they heal when they die as well. So when you kill one of the 3, the other 2 heal and get stronger. So you kind of have to choose which one you think, first of all, is the most or the least dangerous. And then obviously you have to kill that one and make sure, you know, it doesn't even matter. The other 2 are going to heal. You might as well cleave if it's a single target DPS increase, but regardless, they're going to heal anyway, I believe, unless maybe you could spread them out or something like that. But as you see there, they heal up to full, and everybody's like freaking out now because we just look at all the AoE damage that we've been doing here. But it gets pretty dicey here. But one thing I definitely need to say about the bosses here is they definitely do feel like they are going to be undertuned. And, you know, I think that's just a way of it now, guys. It is a 5-man. A lot of people want to come in here and wipe. But I'm going to remind you guys this. This is, once again, like I said, a group of people that I know. And one of them has still managed to die. And we're all in a voice communication together, essentially. And we know exactly what we're doing. But we are still making mistakes, but the mistakes do not cost us very heavily. We do wipe a few times on a few bosses, but I'll talk about that when we get there. Regardless, this is not a raid. Okay, this is not progression. It's just a 5-man. And of course, if you know how to play in a 5-man, you know how to use potions and health pots and you know how to use CDs properly. There's no challenge in any 5-man other than how quickly and how efficiently you can do it. This is a topic I've made many videos on and spoken on many times. So I just need to remind you guys of this because I feel like I know immediately. I can already tell based on the thread that Blizzard posted on Karazhan. People are already talking about it being too easy, and we're scaled down to 845. So that's a little liberal, I'd say. I think 840 is what it should have been tested at. That's more realistic, what people will probably come in here at. Like most people, this is what the target audience is, right? So the people complaining already are saying, 845, what a joke. I've been 845 since last expansion. You know what I mean? Like they're saying that like by the time this comes on the live servers, they're going to be like 880. Well, then you don't need to fucking do it. You know what I mean? Like, what do you expect? You're going to outgear it. It's not going to drop gear that's relevant for you. Otherwise, Titan Forge. But I don't know. I like the difficulty it's at now. Some bosses definitely feel like they have a lot of health. Moroes is one of them, although I think we did something wrong. This boss, too. This boss took us a while. I mean, what's that, like a 3-minute encounter? I don't know. So, yeah, you kind of have to temper that, all right? But there you see a 855 cloak. So, pretty cool loot. But in general, I think the place is not, you're not going to get much of a challenge out of it. So you could read the text there. It's a bit of a nice little nod there. So, you know, that this is the opera event. It's still just as cool as it used to be. I like the idea. They have all new bosses. Obviously, we only got to see one of them here today. But the whole purpose of this video is not to show off the mechanics or anything. It's really to just talk about the dungeon, get a look for it. And like I said, the ambience, of course, is very present. And here, little stuff like this. Check this out.
Please, I'm a fan. Here it goes.
Run away, little girl.
So obviously a nice little nod to the very frequent use of that in deadly boss mods. If you guys remember, or you played deadly boss mods with sound on, you'll see the run away little girl thing often for pretty much any mechanic that you have to move out of. So that's pretty cool. I love stuff like that, man. That's why I love Karazhan, because there's so much like it's just like the community's history is here. You know what I mean? TBC was the foundation of the game, and while it was not my favorite expansion ever, it was definitely one of the most influential expansions. That's the way you should look at it. It's not a complete, perfect expansion, but a lot came out of it, and Karazhan was certainly one of them. And yeah, we get to relive it here, thankfully. Blizzard has done a great job, of course, making it different, but great as well. And you can tell the ambience, man. Just look at the torches. Look at those torches over there. Those are really what I'm talking about when I'm talking about ambience. You know, that is the lighting situation in general is really what makes this place so awesome. And the fact that, you know, it retains its TBC feel. Like there's still those rooms in there. There's still a lot of trash. Like it feels like it's a raid, you know what I mean? There's a lot of freaking trash, as you guys can tell. So I speed it up just because we have 25 minutes on this video here, and we still have over an hour of footage. So yeah, it takes. I cut this down was about 100 or 100. It was about 60 minutes, about 1 hour of footage. I cut it down to about 25 plus speeding it up. And then I have another at least hour of footage here to do the same with. So yes, it is a very long dungeon, guys. This is obviously the first time we're doing it. So I expect like a serious group who wants to get it done and knows what they're doing can probably complete it in under an hour. But it is definitely going to take, I can't see how you could do this in a half hour. There's just too much trash. And then, of course, the boss order as well is something to consider. So as you see, we're going to Maiden now. I guess it's all optional. Like we could have went to either Moroes or Attumen, but we'll talk about that after we talk about Maiden. So this is a boss we wipe once on, and it's because of the main mechanic. We did not typically we struggle with it for a minute there, but we figured it out now. First of all, she does this AoE. It's like a chain lightning. That right there, you see that? If I was stood in melee, the 5th person who gets hit by it dies. It's just like chain lightning. It does more damage every time it bounces. But you see back there that holy ground. That's the mechanic I was talking about. It marks a player with this holy ground, and you have to run out and drop it. It's just like the original encounter, only, it's a little bit, the mechanics are a little bit more forward thinking. So you have to make sure it's in a good area because it expands. And if you put it right in the middle of the room, then obviously you're fucked. So there we go. We're going to put that over there. And then at some point, she's going to try to like disorient us or something like that. And we can go stand in it and it'll remove it, just like the original encounter. But yeah, the main difference here is the chain lightning thing. This thing will one-shot you if all 5 of your players can get hit by it. It will kill 1 player at least, and that's something that I struggle with as a Holy Paladin because, of course, I am trying to do damage, and it's not working out very well. So I kind of have to like sit here and watch the cast, and it's just a mess. But anyway, it is a long encounter, right? So this is another thing we've been talking about here. Dungeoneering, usually bosses are about a minute long, and of course, sadly we have somebody doing very little damage, but regardless of that, we don't have lust or anything as well. So it's not the best setup, but regardless, I don't think this is going to change too much, right? So the reason the bosses have a little bit more health is because, we are kind of under-geared for it, quote unquote, even though we're testing it at what is meant to be tested at. We are not, we're not the gear. I've lost at least 10 item level coming in here. I think I'm about 859 at the time of recording this, and we're down to 845. Of course, not all of that item level matters much for me as a healer, but regardless, I have lost a lot of health and a lot of stats in general. So I think when you do this on live, you're going to be well over 860, unless you haven't been keeping up maybe. But I don't know when this will come out either. Of course, if it comes out soon, maybe not. But either way, you'll be well into Heroic and Mythic Plus, and you'll have all kinds of gear, and the place will be very quick, much easier. So it is important that these bosses have a lot of health, and as you see, it takes us a long time to kill it. So it kind of worries me because, this is the big issue that they've been dealing with ever since TBC. Basically, in TBC, bosses did not, you can kill bosses in 15 seconds if you're geared. But the difference was they always did a lot of damage. The few mechanics that they had were really pains in the ass. They weren't even real mechanics, but they were just a pain in the ass mostly. So it was kind of a big issue. And they've kind of struggled going forward with this. But yeah, I just don't think there's a solution. Once you outgear content in Legion, you just outgear it. And that's just the facts. So let's take a look at this.
I thought my game broke then.
Same. Oh shit. Flashbacks.
Our friend lies just in here.
It breaks my heart to see him like this.
Another year of slumber. I wonder if Medivh will ever awaken.
Does our old friend dream? Is he trapped in nightmares?
Where the fuck was Harry on his way back from? Holy shit.
Fucking Harry. Anyway, yeah, so you're going to see a couple of those types of flashbacks throughout the dungeon. Unfortunately, like I said, I was not in a position that I could record them perfectly for you. I didn't expect that, so that's my fault there. But we can talk about them either way. It's clear that they're talking about Medivh and his the issues that he's undercome. Now, I don't know if there's going to be some big storyline. I assume there is going to be quests and stuff revolving around Karazhan's, like the story and stuff, but I think all we're going to see mostly here is that we learn a lot more about Medivh's past, which is shrouded in a lot of mystery. Even as lore junkies, I think there's still a lot to know about Medivh, and this is a great example here of ways they could kind of retcon. I don't know if that's the right word, but ways they could add to the previous story without kind of going back in time. Just doing these flashbacks and this kind of stuff here. But as you see, a couple of people get mind control. It's a pretty interesting idea here. You get mind controlled. We actually kill it. Fucking rip. But anyway, yeah. So mind controls on this down here in this trash. And then the arcane dude, he puts out these circles. You're gonna see. I think was that what Sai just died to? No, that wasn't Sai who died. That was the mind control death. But anyway, yeah. The arcane dudes, they're gonna put out these circles, and yeah, there it is. There. So Siler thinks. So let's watch this. I want to see this. No, that wasn't it. Maybe it was earlier, but anyway, he thinks he died because you need to split it, but I'm pretty sure you don't split it. I'm pretty sure you just need to move out with it. So either way, that's trash in Karazhan. There's a lot of it. There's a lot of non-elites as well. There's a lot of different routes you can take to skip trash. We basically pull way more trash than we need to in this dungeon. So if there was a Mythic Plus, which there is not going to be for this, we could have easily avoided a lot of trash. This would be an insane Mythic Plus, by the way. Holy shit. The fucking mob count would be like, you'd get like -% for one mob because there's so many mobs in here. But anyway, a good group. Like once you're geared, if you have a death grip as well, like AoE death grip or something, you could probably just pull this whole fucking room because it literally, it's just nothing. It's just 5-man trash. You know what I mean? And it's not even dangerous 5-man trash. It's the old school 5-man trash where the trash is just inconvenience. But also on the way to the boss, to Moroes, there's like these Ghostbuster type people here. And they give you this trap. So you see it on my screen. I have it. It looks like a bear trap type thing. And you could use it to just like kind of permanently stun an elite. It's not a stun. It's like a CC. So it's going to break if you do damage to it. But we originally didn't know what it was for. But then we eventually figured out that it's for this encounter. But I don't know why. So I wonder... Now, it takes us a really fucking long time to beat this fight, and you're going to see that live. But I wonder if it's because we killed the ads. So it makes me wonder if we had the bear trap for one for each of the ads, just like you would have done back in the day. You would have CC'd each of the ads back in the day, right? Because they all just did shit that you didn't want to deal with, and it was difficult to tank them all. Now, I wonder if the penalty for fighting them all, right, because there's no more AoE, there's now AoE threat, is they add health to the boss or something like that, because it takes us a long ass fucking time to do this. So so everybody picks one up, but we don't use it properly. They don't understand how to use it, basically, is what's happening here. I'm the only one who actually discerned how to use it properly. So you have to click them and then use it, and then they're stunned, and then you'd pull them away. So Side thinks he has to like run up there and do it, and then it's going to stun it, but I realize that you don't actually do that, and of course, because of that, it breaks. So anyway, people are still speculating on this. I don't know what it even says in the Dungeon Journal about this. I'm not sure. But regardless, if you do it this way, there's no it doesn't seem like any dramatic penalty. Now, there's also this purple crystal back there, which Siler's very curious about. But we can't really tell what that's for. And then also we wonder if it has something to do with after the encounter, like you need to click it after he dies or something. But anyway, that's that. If anybody knows what that's for, you can let me know. But regardless, we're just straight up AoEing the fuck out of these guys. They literally do not do anything. Although I guess we do have a really good AoE team. 2 Demon Hunters and a Windwalker. That is definitely where it's at in terms of AoE. But yeah, he's going to keep going to click this because he's trying to figure out what's going on. But unfortunately, I don't think we learned anything about that crystal there. And the boss doesn't have any debuffs or buffs or anything like that. So I just don't know why he has this much health. I feel like we're doing like really good damage to him and stuff. Like I'm contributing damage. We have a good group. He's not really doing anything. He's just kind of doing a one mechanic every few seconds. But you see how little health we're taking off every few seconds. And of course, Siler's constantly running up there. But I don't know. And then the mob comes down here as well, so we can kill that thing too. The CC breaks. But notice that the CC broke. Now I don't think Siler broke it. He may have. But my trap was still on cooldown at that point. So if for some reason you do need to trap these things, which from what I can tell you do not, yeah, that's interesting. You're going to need, I don't know what you're going to need to do there. But anyway, that's that. So yes, Moroes encounter. I love the area you fight him in. It's so much more ambient than the original one. See, I like the really high contrast lighting and colors. I think this is what this place is and needs. And it feels a lot more like somber and honorific and old when it's like this, The original version, when the first time I ever did Karazhan, all I could think of, I was like, where is this place? Like, it felt like it was in present. It felt like everything was normal. Everything was going on as was intended. But, in reality, you realize that it's just a fucking nightmare, basically. Like, it's just everything that could be going wrong in the castle is. In the tower is, and of course it's all because of Medivh's issues, so and I think it's really it really says something about it when they remake it like this, because it makes you realize what was actually going on in the first place there. And yeah, especially if they can tell a little bit of Medivh's story and lore, then I think they have done an excellent job with this. Mechanically, it seems pretty basic, and Not really too challenging, but regardless,
Oh,
here's another one of these.
so we should go, even if this unlocks something, let's go do Attunement.
Contain your magic.
Too much power.
RIP!
The fuck?
No.
Trust it. So that's why his fucking dad's pretty upset in the library bit when we fight him in original Karazhan.
Yeah, so I didn't realize that. What Sai pointed out there is that the Shade of Iran is actually Medivh's father, apparently. And it said there in that little cutscene, Medivh accidentally kills his father because I guess the power he has is growing too out of control. So I don't know what to say about that. But regardless, it's a pretty interesting, like I said, if they can tell the story, if they could advance the story, actually, then it would be awesome because I think this is the best part about Karazhan. It kind of has its own lore to it, you know, like it's lore that previously felt irrelevant to the main like stuff that was going on in TBC. Honestly, I feel like, yeah, Karazhan was not part of TBC. Like it did not make much sense for TBC. Especially, you know, Prince Malchezaar, like I don't know where the hell that even came from. But regardless, this is a really cool way to reintroduce all that, a really cool way to tie the stories together. And now especially since there has some involvement with Legion. But the weird part about this is up until this point, there's really not much Legion involvement. In fact, I don't think there's been any. So yeah, you'll see that maybe eventually. You'll see small amounts of Legion involvement, but I think even though they wanted to make there's some Legion involvement, they kind of did exactly what everybody expected them to do. It was just kind of keep Karazhan isolated. You'll deal with all the wacky goings on in Karazhan, and then you'll finally find the Legion involvement at the end. So it's a freaking wacky place, man. Let me put it down on paper for you guys like that because it is the truth. The truth, like Paul Pierce, man, it's insane. Towards the end, right now it's very like, you know, it's what you expect. You've seen this place 1,000 times, but there's also these shortcuts here. Now this is of course where you used to fight the Nightbane encounter. Apparently there's hints at a Nightbane mount now in this new version of Karazhan, so there might actually be something here, but all we could tell for now is there is a door that takes you to the shortcut, which takes you back to the entrance. If you guys didn't know, the entrance now to Karazhan is the side entrance, the old side entrance. You come in through the side. The bottom entrance still takes you to the old Karazhan, okay? So this place now takes us to the second half of the dungeon. Now that we completed the bottom half, we can go to the second half there. But regardless, there's some more trash here. I'm going to show you this. This trash is insanity. It puts this fire debuff on you that as it expires, it does a bunch of AoE damage. And of course, with all melee, basically all melee. And every time it ticks, it spreads to another player. So the more fire debuffs you have when they expire, the more damage they do. So as you see, people are just getting literally destroyed by it. And this marks a very difficult part of the dungeon and where we're going to end the first half of the video because this is basically the first half of Karazhan in general that we've done here. So yeah, that fire debuff is no joke. Be careful with it. I think it's overtuned, to be honest. It does a lot of fucking damage. But anyway, now we're going to fight the boss, Attumen, and this is a boss we cannot kill. Very, very, very difficult encounter. Mostly because of one big issue, and I'm going to describe it. There is a healing debuff that goes out, only a debuff that a healer can deal with. You'll see it go out very shortly, and it says in the dungeon journal, pay attention because one of the people that has it is the only one who actually has it. And if you dispel the wrong one, you take a bunch of damage. So as you see there, I dispelled blindly. No visual indicator to my knowledge at all. Maybe DBM eventually will help with this, but I looked, we wiped at this like 8 times. I simply cannot figure out what the visual indicator is. So there you go. There's a great opportunity. You guys, all you gods out there, you tell me exactly what I was missing, and I will learn from it because I'm very happy to do so. But yes, we got lucky there. I just dispelled a random person, and I was like, fuck it, let's just try it, and I actually get lucky there. So we're able to see more of the encounter. But as you can tell, this boss is insanity. There's something you need to stack for to split, and then at the same time, his horse is roaming around doing all kinds of AoE damage. And then there's the Vault of the Wardens mechanic. So I don't know. We're trying to figure out where to tank him because, like, how the hell are you supposed to dodge that? I don't think you can dodge all of that. Luckily, it's not like the Vault of the Wardens, and it'll push you back and knock you out multiple times. But so here's this mechanic again, and this is basically roll of the dice. Do we get it? If we do not, we wipe, and we do not. I fail. We take 600k damage from the Barong Dispel, And we have one more chance at it here, but people would probably die if I dispel, so I'm going to just try to heal through it. And then all this fire damage, and then all this split damage, and man, we almost killed it. But if we got lucky there and I was able to figure out who to dispel, probably would have been able to survive it. But that there, yeah, that's just too much right there. That's the mechanic. It's like a blue frontal cleave. You're meant to split it. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. I really fucking enjoy Karazhan, honestly, and I can't wait to show you guys the next part of this video. So if you have any questions about the first few bosses, let me know. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next video.
At least no one, with this setup, no one's gonna ask me what my UI is. Feels good, man.